Now, for a wrap of what happened in court today, I'm joined in studio by our senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo, who has been following the story really closely. Z, good to have you with us in studio. Now, you've literally been on your feet regarding the Senzo Meyiwa case and covering it from all different angles. Now, we saw yesterday the minister talking, and I quote, he said here that information is not what gets you to court, but evidence is what gets you to court. From what transpired during the course of the day, did you have that sense of confidence and comfort that the state's case is, as the minister had said, watertight?
You know, I think the thing about what you're asking, Thami, is exactly, I guess, what's caused all this confusion, in the sense that it's a first court appearance, and we never anticipated that this first court appearance would be this dramatic. And of course, in a first court appearance, it's usually for bail. So the issues, the evidence, the matters of the case are not necessarily ventilated throughout the court. What's usually presented are the facts. This happened on the 26th of October, 2014, etc. Now, this is where then, you know, things took a dramatic turn inside the courtroom, because you'll remember yesterday, Advocate Kharinal from the AfriForum's private prosecutions unit said that in no uncertain terms was this a robbery, this was a hit on Senzo Meyiwa's life. And so when Advocate George Boloi was reading out the facts of the case, you know, for an example, that there's an attempted murder charge against one of the accused for trying to, pointing a gun, for an example, at Zandi Khumalo, who is Kelly Khumalo's sister, that a Samsung S4 was taken. All indications are that the state are treating this as a robbery. Perhaps, maybe this will eventually lead to the assassination, theory that was given to us by Advocate Kharinal. But, you know, you were listening into that interview that we did with the advocate. He was quite clear, and he admitted that he was just as confused about what happened in court today as we were as journalists, and that he will also be trying to seek answers, because clearly there's been a miscommunication.
I see a parallel, Ziyanda, between the conversation you had with Umaga Senzo when you went to visit her at her home. She made allegations that there were two separate forces working within the police, and both those different sources or agents had different agendas. When you spoke to Kharinal today, he said, he was briefed by, I think he's been talking to the SAPS. And, yes, and not the NPA.
Well, both. He's been speaking to both.
He's been speaking to both, yes. But he was saying that now there seems to be some sort of a disjointedness here, because all along he was under the assumption that this was indeed a hit and not a robbery case. So where does that leave us now, just as far as two agents who seem to be pulling in two different directions? Where does one separate the fact from the fiction?
I think, at this particular point in time, we'll have to also hear from AfriForum what they've been told about this clear contradiction that we saw playing out in court. But even more so, Thami, that this issue of two possible police factions working against each other in this case, that was even amplified in the courtroom, might I add, when those 5 suspects appeared. Firstly, they didn't want to actually stand in the dock. One of them was very belligerent in saying, I will not stand in this dock. I don't even know why I've been called to this case. And in actual fact, there's a police officer who's been bribing witnesses, and the people who should be in this courtroom are not here because they have money. Then another accused, during that media's application to take proceedings live, was also echoing the same sentiments to actually say, in fact, let the media broadcast these proceedings live so that we can tell the nation what's actually happening. Accused number 4 as well was saying the same thing, to say they lied. We don't know who they is, but he says they lied and said we were arrested yesterday because I was sentenced as far back as August. So I need someone to explain to me why I'm in this courtroom. And that it's at that particular point in time when Magistrate Havenga was saying, I'm not going to let you overshadow these proceedings, and in fact, this is not the time to ventilate the material aspect of the court case. But what these suspects were saying it has an impact on what the Meyiwa family and Senzo Meyiwa's mother and Tom Futi said, that there are two police factions that are working against each other. She doesn't even believe the report that there's a man who's in prison and the gun has been found. She says that's absolutely not true, and actually the people inside the house must tell the truth. Now that aspect of Tom Futi saying the people inside must tell the truth then also makes that document that the media got a hold of by mistake when the NPA sent it to us, even it amplifies Senzo Meyiwa's mother's cry to say the people in the house must tell the truth. Why? Because in that document that the NPA leaked, the investigating officer Keninda is wanting cell phone records of Kelly Khumalo, where she is said to have been in contact with one of the suspects who were in the courtroom today. And they also want to know why the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department was the one to take the suspects and not the SAPS. So that is important, Thami, because if it really was a robbery, why would you call the Metro Police and not SAPS?
Lots of questions there that need to be answered. Unfortunately, time is not on our side, but this is a developing story. We'll have ample opportunity to ventilate it further. And one thing, though, before I let you go really quickly, Z, is I noticed that the family's interpretation of the fact that one of the guys or the suspects was saying that people who are involved here should speak, and that people who are moneyed are the ones that are being protected here. When you were speaking to Usiyabonga, he was pretty much under the impression that that was almost an admission from them that they know who these people are. Is that the sense that you got as well?
Not really, Thami. So when we were asking Sfiso outside the courtroom about the fact that, look, this is what these suspects are saying, has this changed your view of where we are with this case? And you were saying, look, when people appear in court, they can say anything they want. So you were saying, until he's gotten a different brief from AfriForum and the authorities that they've been in contact with, as far as he knows, that could have very well have just been a distraction by the suspects. But I can tell you now, Thami, this is not how first court appearances usually unfold. This was a very dramatic scene that was unfolding in that courtroom, and it's made even understanding where we are right now even more confusing because of the different elements that actually just exposed themselves within the courtroom today.
Well, thank you so much, Z, and awesome stuff. Great work.
Thank you.
Great work.